so much for doing this interview with me, and congratulations on this new series. Rakhee, Scott, before I talk to the two of you, Andrew, I got to jump over to because he and I go way back. And I got to say right off the top, man, it is great to see you also. I got to ask you before we start this, how is your superhero brother doing these days? And it looks like he's doing really well.
People's Choice Award superhero brother is doing very well. He's every time I check in with him, he's always somewhere. We chatted about SNL and just always checking in. I'm super proud of him and how well he's doing. And as we knew he would, I knew he was going to be a superhero, and we knew the movie was going to be a success. And I'm so glad that it's been a movie that has brought many people so much joy. So I'm so happy for him, and I'm so happy for my brother from another mother, Paul Sun Young Lee, up in the Netflix Last Airbender series and popping up on Mandalorian. And so it's just so nice to see my co-stars doing their thing, as I knew all of them were so talented.
Absolutely. And you're part of the family, talented too, because, with this great new series, I want you to describe exactly what this is because this is so cool. And what I love about this is this really reminds me of old school neighborhoods and represents what Canada looks like.
You hit it on the head, man. Old school neighborhoods, because like for me, like we want to portray a neighborhood where kids are playing on the streets and families go out and they have fun. And the suburbs to me were always a place of energy and joy and life. But on television, they're often portrayed as like really kind of generic and stale and boring places, and often that don't include a lot of people of color. Whereas like for us, we all grew up in suburbs, and sometimes suburbs are only colored people. And so we wanted to showcase a suburb that was full of energy and life, with a family that loved each other, a family at its core that loved each other, and a family you've never seen on TV, but exists in the community. That was really important for us.
Racky, I love your character because you're old school mom. You know, could you talk about your character, please? Because um, she is the mom that I've always known, loving to the family, but tough at the same time, and takes no prisoners when the moment is needed.
Oh yeah, Camille is a total badass. I love that about her. Different than I am. I feel like I learned a lot from that character. Playing her was really lovely because I got to like lean into that, and I got to like have fun with that, and yeah, and like throw down like Camille would. She's a great character. She's super competitive. She's super supportive. She, she goes to work. She gets it done. She comes home, and she's a fantastic creative chef underneath it all. And she also has her lovely supportive husband there, and her partner there, who teamworks it. So I think that the one thing that I love about this family and this character is that it's them against the world. It's never them against each other.
And that's what I love about this too. And I want you to, if you can talk a little bit more about this, because you've seen series where the mom is helpless, or actually ends up turning to the kids for help and things like that. And this goes with the parents. It's like what you said. It's you two against the world, but at the same time, it's like, oh, we got a problem. All right, we're gonna take care of this right now.
Yeah. There's like a beautiful chemistry between that I think Andrew and I found as actors, and I think also have from being old friends and sort of also working in the writers' room together, being able to share and explore ideas and pitch up stuff. There was sort of like this collaboration that was free to have, and a chemistry and a sense of joke and joyness that like jokingness that we were able to have, that I was able to bring into it as an actor with Andrew as well. So there was like that made it really fun and wonderful to have this sort of chemistry with Andrew, to try things to see if they worked, and to really like shape Camille to be a three-dimensional character, a strong woman, but also complicated, flawed, has her own things going on. We don't want to only show the woman to be perfect. And on the other side, you don't want to show the woman to be completely helpless, needing a man. So I was always sort of advocating to have those dimensions of Camille, and offering that to everyone. And it was all like, hell yes, that was always the answer.
Scott, where did this great story come from? Where did the inspiration come from all of this?
That goes way back. The inspiration for the story came from partially Andrew and I did a sneaker show that we were pitching.
Wait. Did you say Andrew did a sneaker show?
We were pitching a sneaker show.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many sneakers does he have?
Yeah, exactly. Didn't take off. And we were just sitting around afterwards and thinking, what's the show that we really want to make? And Andrew had a conversation with Bill Lundy at Pier 21, who said, we want to be in the Andrew Funk business. And Andrew came back to me and said, well, he had this idea for a show in the suburbs, and I loved it. And we started building it out from there. It was just a nugget of an idea. We started putting stickies up on the wall in his basement, eating pizza with his family in Calgary. And that's where it began. I've been super close with Andrew and his family for years and years. And we kind of grew it out of the love that Andrew actually has with his family.
Not just super close. Scott is the godfather of both my children. So.
Oh, I love that, man. Congratulations. Scott, do you see the same, like I was talking about, like we talked about old school and stuff like that, but the characters that come about, is it any characters that you remember growing up and seeing and going, yeah, that guy was this guy, and this guy was like this guy, and the kids were like this, and that kind of stuff?
I think everybody's gonna relate to at least one of the neighbors. We have so many neighbors in this little cul-de-sac. I think everybody's gonna say, "Oh, that's a neighbor I have. That's a neighbor I have." Okay, people are gonna relate to it, I think, and we're pulling from our life experiences, and both Andrew and I grew up in the suburbs, still live in the suburbs, and there's so much comedy in the people and the weirdness here that it just, I don't want to say it writes itself because we had to write it, but it's a lot. Suburbs are so much fun, and the neighbors are so much fun. I think everyone's gonna find something to relate to.
I think so too. And Andrew, even if somebody hasn't lived in the suburbs, and again, I don't want to give too much away, but right off the top, the beginning, something that happens with the family and the car going into the house. I do that. I do what you guys did. I do that on my own all the time. And this is what I love about this, because even though maybe you never lived in the suburbs, you guys are still finding those little gems that we've all been through in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and what Rudy's referring to is the one trip. And Andrew looks at his family. They open the back of their minivan. They got all the groceries, and Andrew's like, one trip. And this family has to get all the bags on. And for me, like as a room, we were always like, what's the really relatable thing? And so one trip is the motto for the family. It's like, we go big, we go hard, we support each other through thick and thin. We go to war with each other. And I think the one trip is even harder when you live in an urban area, because if you live in a condo building or you like park farther from your apartment, you got to like one trip across a field to get to your house, but you always one trip. That's a mentality that people just have. And so it was always like finding those things. And like 102, we talk about camp registration and how stressful that is. And if you are a parent, you got to get your kids registered. It is like a big deal. And so for us, having lived in suburbs, we were always trying to pull things that were really, really relatable to the burbs, and finding ways to really connect the family. And so, yeah, man, we're all one trip gripping it.
I love this.
That was a big thing for the family too. The inspiration for us was always, what are these mundane moments that this family makes big? You can just roll through life and do everything as everybody else does, or you can make it a movie moment. And that's what we were really trying to do a lot of the time, inspire people to, embrace those moments, have fun with it.
I think you guys did that too. Look, as we wrap this up, I'm going to let Mom have the last word. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I think your character is going to be one of those where, as years go by, honestly, I think she's going to be an inspiration with other moms have been, from Leave It to Beaver to the Cosbys or whatever. I really think so because I love, like I said, how you represent her. What do you hope that folks will get from this great new series?
Oh, I hope it, first of all, I hope that people do take pleasure and in the everyday. That is something that was so important to me when I went back and stayed with my family during the pandemic. It was something that I remembered. And I realized how my family, like how we do this. Like we do this thing where we get like little pastries and then we rank them. We rank them on 1 to 10. Which one was the best one? We take the everyday and we make it these exceptional, wonderful adventures. And I hope it brings joy to the audiences that they do that as well. And also, I believe that there are so many door opening conversations that happen in this series. And I really hope that when people watch it, if they didn't have the confidence to talk about these things before, they do. They can use the show as a conversation point to discuss what's going on in their lives, in their family, and culturally what's going on. So I hope that is seen, and I hope that there is a sense of representation. People will see the little details that were really, really important to Andrew, Scott, and myself, and the writers and the directors. You know, one thing was you have to take your shoes off if you're going to enter the house.
Yes,
that's a thing. That is a thing, and it's the tiniest detail, but it had to happen. And whether people see it or don't see it, I feel like as an audience member, those South Asian people or those Asian people, they're going to feel seen. That is a moment of like, I always watching TV when I was younger was like, why is everyone wearing shoes in the house? What world is this?
I don't want to give it away, but it reminds me of a wonderful moment. It's not a spoiler, but it's got to exist, where Andrew potentially gets beat with a shoe by his mom, which is just like,
I wanted to ask if that was going to happen.
Well, the thing is, like, you got to assume that like we're gonna see family, and family's such a big part of this show. And so when Andrew's parents roll in, it's an experience. But like you see old school immigrant mom discipline techniques show up, and I just think that that's like a really relatable thing. Like I remember because that wasn't even in the script. That wasn't in the script, and it happened in the moment because we were all working through the scene, and Joyce Wong was directing it, Chinese director. And we all were just like, hey, what happens here? And then Joyce was like, your shoe. And then my mom takes off the shoe, which just like hits me with it. And we're all like, ha ha. I'm like, yeah, it's perfect. But I will say it now because I can. Who's gonna stop me? In rehearsal, she was wearing like a slide, like a sandal. So when she hit me on the arm, it was like, oh, it didn't hurt at all. But she was wearing heels the day. So I remember when the scene was happening, she took off her shoe. In my head, I was like, oh no, that's like a real shoe. I was like, oh, there's like a genuine but I also think she didn't realize until that moment. She's like, oh no, I'm wearing real shoes now. So when we yelled cut, she was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it's good. It really informs my character because I'm genuinely scared of you. So,
yes, exactly. No, that showed respect. That's the way it was done back in the day. I cannot wait to see, and I'm crossing fingers on episodes, putting up Christmas lights or decorations outside the home. I want to see what's going to happen summertime, or like I'm just looking at this as if like, man, I'm just reflecting on myself, and now at least I can get a good laugh at myself and my own neighborhood. Guys, thank you so much for this interview, but thank you for putting together such a great Canadian, it's a comedy, but real show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Rudy.
Thank you so much.